Welcome back. Let's cross live now to Melbourne, where Storm General Manager of Football Frank Ponissi joins us. Frank, thanks for joining us. I know it's a busy week, grand final week, but your guys had a great win against the Cronulla Sharks. Do you feel like you're peaking just at the right time?
Yeah, g'day, Braith. Now, certainly the last two games, the two finals, we've been really pleased. They've been true semi-finals. We've had to work hard, both against the Bulldogs in the first final and again the other night against the Sharks. So I think that really holds some good stead. Those last two games, home and away, especially the Roosters and the Broncos games, we lost our way in defence, and that's something that the coaches and the players have worked really hard to get that mongrel back in our defence, and we've shown that in the last two performances.
Hey Frank, it's Gordy Tallis here. Congratulations on making another grand final. You guys have been in a lot of big games. After your game, you guys looked like it was just about business, walked off. Brisbane were excited, celebrated a little bit. Have you seen a change in your players?
No, Gordy, probably weren't as excited maybe as the Broncos, given probably the nature of their comeback. But I can guarantee you, we treat every grand final that we're fortunate to be in like it's our first, and really enjoy that moment after the game. It was really special being out in the field with the players and the families and the staff, and we also treat it like it could be our last. So enjoy the week, embrace it, and give it our best shot. So it might not have the same, feeling as the Broncos show given the circumstances, but I can tell you the players were really pleased and feel grateful of being in a grand final.
Frank, you had a relationship with Madge last year in State of Origin. How do you find Madge as a coach compared to Craig?
Bulldog, there's certainly similarities, but they've also got the differences, and that's the beauty of coaches. The pleasure of working with Madge down here for a couple of years when I first arrived to Melbourne, and the last year I had with Madge at Origin was wonderful as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's definitely similarities, but I really enjoyed my time, and so I have not been surprised whatsoever in the way that the Broncos have gone this year. So, they've been a threat from day one, I believe. They had their ups and downs like we all have this year, but they're certainly coming good at the right time of the year.
Frank, Paul Crawley here, mate. Let's get to the elephant in the room. Big Stefano's stuck-up comment at the Broncos. What was Craig's reaction?
Well, Crawls, yesterday morning before the media day started, if you said one of your players is going to make a fairly controversial comment, you've got to rank your players 1 to 17. I'd have Munster at number 1, and then I'd have Stefano at 17. It shocked all of us. It's he's such a quiet, gentle man who walks around training, doesn't and around the club, doesn't say too much. He was same in Origin. I don't think he spoke in Origin. So for him to come out, that kind of shocked us all. I was the one that had to tell Craig, which it was an interesting reaction when I first told Craig. But look, we back him. He's a wonderful player for us. He's been in incredible form since Origin. He's really leading the way, and he knows that he makes those comments. He's got to stand by him. So. It's probably been blown a little bit bigger than it is, but it's grand final week, so we'll roll with the punches.
Yeah. Frank, in all your Storm premierships, you haven't won one when Cam Smith wasn't there. Does it motivate you and Craig and the club itself to win one without Cam?
Bulldog, I wouldn't say it motivates us, but to do something, without the big three. I mean, it was for a long time. There was a belief outside these four walls here that we couldn't do it without the big three, and then it was about Cameron. So, we've got awfully close since Cameron left. I mean, 2021 was a remarkable season. We won a record 20 consecutive games and fell short in the prelim to a very good team called Penrith. And it's interesting, Penrith have beaten us in the last game 3 of the last 4 years. So, this is a great opportunity. Harry Grant is a completely different player and a different captain to Smithy. But he's a wonderful leader as well, and he's a wonderful player. So it would be a great recognition for the club. But, certainly we don't forget, what Cameron and those, other players have built for the boys to be in this position this Sunday.
Yeah, Frank, you just mentioned Penrith. What did the boys learn from last year's loss to the Panthers?
Yeah, it's a great question, Gordy, and it's something we addressed probably straight after the game last year. It was for 15, I think it was 13 of our players, it was their first grand final last year. So not just the game, as you know, Gordy, it's the week. If you don't embrace the week and it can affect your preparation, can affect your performances. And some players it did, they were probably taken back by just the intensity of the week, the build-up, and all the commitments that required. So we discussed that. And the game itself, that Penrith probably taught us a lesson in that game. We only got beaten 14-6, but they just didn't give us, any chances. They just stuck to their game plan, and we probably panicked at times and tried to look for those big plays. So, we're certainly taking our learnings from that game, and we certainly just haven't looked at the learnings this week. We looked at them in pre-season and tried to improve in areas. So, but having that experience last year is vital for us. But having said that, the Broncos, a lot of their players were in the same position 2 years ago, so I'm sure they've learnt a lot as well.
There was a lot of talk about Jerome Hughes last week, mate, and, was it a risk bringing him back to, 22 days after suffering that fracture in his arm? Tell us about, were you guys concerned? And then to watch him go out and play the way he did shows what a champion he was, or he is.
We had a very high opinion of Jerome before that, Crawls, but it went to another level last Friday night, to be brutally honest. I mean, when he did his shoulder badly against the Roosters, early August, I think it was, we thought that was it for the year. He came back 5 weeks later, lasted 25 minutes and broke his forearm. So he went into last Friday night's game basically 25 minutes of footy in 8 weeks, and he was going into a prelim against a very good opposition. He not just, just was out there. He played really well, and the difference he made to our team, and the combination he's got, especially with Cameron Munster, was a big factor. And yes, there was a risk, of course, whatever how big or slight that risk was, but it was a risk we knew we had to take. He's such an important part of this football team, and as I said, that performance last week was quite extraordinary in such a big game.
Yeah, it certainly was an incredible performance by Jerome and your team. Yet again, the powerhouse of the Melbourne Storm continues, and good luck this week, Frank.
Thanks, boys.